AEW Revolution is this weekend, so we're having a look at the match card and doing our predictions. Us being specialist, Adam, why not? Adam the Wrestling Man is with me. How are you, Adam?
I'm good. Probably a video just to prove that we didn't part ways in bitter circumstances from the good old 3 POA. But obviously, Jono has been exiled,
Yeah.
so he's not here right now. But yeah, we left the 3 POA on good terms, but it's good to be back with you, Jamie.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, it's a revolution for the show, so we say. But yeah, Johnny, we missed today, but obviously we'll be back hopefully for future videos and so on. AEW Revolution is what we're talking about today. A very, very good card, a stacked card, should we say. Let's have a little look at the pre-show, shall we? Put it a face, Adam. It's a stacked as in there's a lot
I'll
of
agree with
matches.
stacked. I'll agree with stacked. On paper, it might be very good, but we'll see when we start talking about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the main thing I always liked about like pre-shows, or as AEW called it, the buy-in, is that it's supposed to sell the event to people that are on the fence. So it's like a free entry, basically, and then just to give that little taster. The three shows we're about to go through, actually going to go through in a second for the pre-show. For me, they're not really selling much on there. But you got Hook versus QT Marshall to start with. Predictions for that, Adam?
So, QT Marshall's an interesting one. He always manages to get into these pay-per-views in some way, shape, or form, doesn't he? Are we still allowed to call these pay-per-views? They aren't premium live events.
You've got to pay for these, yeah.
Not the pre-show.
Not the pre-show.
Pre-show live event. But yeah, he always manages to get on the show. I mean, it's got his benefits being a trainer, and everyone seems to like good old QT. But yeah, there's only one winner, isn't there here? Which is Send Hook.
Yeah, I think obviously the backstory to it is QT Marshall trained Hook and said he's going to send his best guys over after him. Obviously, Hook beat Aaron Solo quite quickly, and then obviously that leads up then to the boss that is QT Marshall. He's good to work with, especially for someone as green as Hook. I think Jim Cornette mentioned it about LA Knight in NXT. He said that for up and coming guys, he's the best person to work with. Same with QT Marshall. He knows how to make people look good. So it should do well. But Hook's obviously gonna win this.
Yeah, I mean, Khan came out. I didn't like what Khan said about Hook. He said he's going to save Hook for special, and that's not what you need at that stage of your career. You don't need to be saved for special. Just because there's a bit of an uproar about Hook at the moment, rightly so, because he's come in with a bang, but he's still lower mid card. Don't save a lower mid carder for special. You build them up. You give them as many matches as possible, as much experience as possible. But at least he's getting his face on a pay-per-view pre-shows.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's not going to make people buy it, but it's going to make people want to watch it because Hook's certainly one to watch, isn't he? Next up, a bit of a weird storyline that has sort of been following, but it's mainly been on Dark. So not many folk have been following, but the free people might like it for the no buy-in. Layla Hirsch versus Chris Statlander. They teamed up once or twice, had a bit of a fallout, didn't realize they were friends, but apparently they are, which fits the narrative, I guess. Who are you going with for this one?
It's one of those from AEW Dark and Elevation where you seem to have so many 6-woman tags. So, it could have been adapted to any woman on the roster, to be honest, this little storyline. But I do like the fact that they're bringing in tiny little storylines. What I like about this match is on the pre-show, it's probably the most unpredictable one. Because they are both about the same level at the moment. I mean, Statlander has the experience and more people know who she is, to be honest. But Layla Hirsch, I've got a sneaking suspicion will take this one. She probably won't, to be honest. Statlander will probably win. But I'm going to go with Hirsch because they've been building her very slightly.
Oh, I'm going to go with Statlander, only because basically what you said there. So she's a bit higher up. She's had a few title shots. With the 6-women tag matches, they always seem to feature Nyla Rose in some way. And the bunny seems to get thrown about in there as well. And they always alternate between losses and wins, which no one benefits from.
Nope.
House of Black, which we had a brief discussion with this before, that very weird. But Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews versus Death Triangle, which is Pac and Penta and Eric Redbeard. Not Adam Redbeard, Eric Redbeard. Also, sorry, it's Penta Oscuro, which means that he's a bit darker, but he won with a roll-up in his first match back. Oh, you dark man. Who are you going with?
You've got to go with House of Black, haven't you, on this one, especially with Matthews being first time. Redbeard's a weird one. I'm glad he's back. I really like him. I think he's got quite a lot to give. Whether he's back full time or not, we'll see. He probably would have suited being on the other team, for which you never know. But yeah, House of Black, they obviously need the victory. There's no need for the other three to get the victory. Pac just seems to be someone who will go back to WWE, if I'm completely honest with you, because they're not using him at all correctly, and that will continue tonight. He's on the pre-show and he'll get a loss.
I know you mean about Eric Redbeard. It's when he come out, it was very much like sort of compare it to Hogan at Bash of the Big. Redbeard is here, but whose side is he on? Very strange. You'll go with House of Black, which sounds more like a furniture shop than it does a tag team. But for me, it's House of Black. I went it all the way, and maybe with an Eric Redbeard or even a Penta heel turn. He is dark now, after all.
He is.
He is. So let's make our way over to the main show. You've watched the buy-in that's enticed you enough to purchase the show. You've purchased the show, and what you're greeted with is Jade Cargill versus Tay. A whole storyline of about a week where Jade Cargill beat the bunny and Tay Conti come out and just got it up in her face for some reason. Adam, who are you going with?
I'm quite disappointed by this match, if I'm completely honest. Everyone seems to be bigging up Cargill, which I don't quite get yet. Yeah, she looks different to other people, kind of resembles Storm out of X-Men. But wrestling-wise, she's very green. She's making mistakes, which is fine. She's learning. They've given her the mid-card title. I respect that. But Tay Conti just had a title match. She worked her way up. She did really well. Got into a title match. Got the obvious defeat in the title match, but didn't suffer from that. And they've been building her absolutely brilliantly for the past year. I mean, she won BWI or whatever it was, best, most improved, I think it was. She didn't need this match, and she's going to lose. It gives her some money for a pay-per-view, but not needed at all. But Jade Cargill.
Yeah, I mean, all I can think is that they needed an opponent for Jade Cargill to get her on the pay-per-view. And, Tay Conti fit the bill. She's the only person one of the people that Jade hasn't beaten yet. And you're not going to risk feeding her Serena Deeb yet or someone that's talented, should we say. But see, Tay Conti is...
She didn't need to be on the pay-per-view. She didn't need to be on the pay-per-view. She's been featured every week recently on your two main shows. So it kind of like where WWE mid-card, we mourn about Intercontinental title and US title not being on pay-per-views. But this is the opposite for me. The TBS title didn't need to be on this pay-per-view.
No. She's been on Dark a few times as well. I think, as you said earlier about using Hook for special events and so on, I mean, not as much as I don't like it, but it would make more sense to do it with Jade Cargill because she's more of an attraction than Hook is. I understand she needs the work, but don't put a title on her this early. Probably the way forward for it. But
I don't mind the title being on her. I just don't think it's prestigious enough to warrant this pay-per-view place.
No. But I think on the long road, it's probably leading up to a match with Serena Deeb because she's doing the rookie challenge and Jade is essentially a rookie at the moment. So that'll be good for down the line. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Jade Cargill for me.
I think you're going for Cargill then.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. Not going to give up the old loss just yet. Next, we've got possibly the most annoying part of AEW at the moment, the AHFO, the Andrade Hardy Family Office. The AFO. That's Andrade, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy versus Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, and Sting.
Can I ask you something before we do predictions?
Carry on. Go on. Carry on.
Your knowledge might be better than mine here. Isaiah Cassidy is wrestling a lot more than Mark Quinn at the moment. Why?
Because he's better. He's better being and obviously they needed Andrade and Matt Hardy to be on the card, so they needed a reason to put someone with them.
I don't just mean this pay-per-view.
No, I know, yeah, previous weeks. But if you're leading up to a pay-per-view, rather than alternating between Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn, you're going to want to favor towards one so it makes sense for him to be on the card. So people don't then ask, why is Isaiah Cassidy on the card? But yeah, I think it's just he had a good showing against Sammy Guevara, even though he had lost the last 2 or 3 single matches he'd been in. He got a title shot, which good rankings. He had a good showing against Keith Lee. But yeah, makes no sense to me. But they needed one of them because I'm guessing he's going to take the fall. I'm guessing that's going to lead to Jeff Hardy returning and having the same match run back, I would have thought. But yeah, Darby, Sammy, and Sting for me.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to win. It makes more sense the other way around if they're going to continue the Andrade-Sammy feud. Definitely makes more sense the other way around. But I think, that they're not going to give Sting the loss here on pay-per-view to mid-carders, like we say. I don't think Jeff Hardy will debut today.
No, I don't think he's going to debut. I think it's going to be Cassidy's going to take the loss, and then... So I don't think he's actually free until the 9th of March, I don't think. So yeah, I imagine that Cassidy's going to take the fall. Matt Hardy's going to go on Dynamite or something, and then it'll build up to Jeff's eventual appearance after that. But yeah, it makes no sense to me.
Hardy's private party.
Yeah, Hardy private party or Hardy versus Darby and Sting would be, be that one. Jurassic Express. So Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus versus Red Dragon, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly versus the Young Bucks. Red Dragon qualified in a battle royal by last eliminating the Young Bucks, which Kyle O'Reilly won, and the Young Bucks won the Casino Tag Team Battle Royal this week, which obviously Red Dragon helped in as well. Quite a foregone conclusion for both of them, how it's going to end up. This is a bit less of a foregone conclusion because it sort of could go one of 2 ways, really. Where are you going with, Adam?
I think you're wrong here. First of all, I want to talk about the horrendous booking from AEW on this one. Yes, Red Dragon won the first one. That's fine. I'm happy with that. I can deal with it. But then to have another with essentially like the same people in it, I really don't get that booking at all. It made no sense whatsoever. This is going to be a Jurassic Express win, and then the Bucks and Red Dragon are going to feud.
Yeah, I think a custody of the Adam Cole ladder match or something. But Jurassic Express, I don't think have been booked fantastic. They had a few wins and so on there, as new champions should. I agree about the Battle Royal side of things. They do it with the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royal. Why can't they do it with this, where the last 2 teams... First of all, why have they announced that it's a triple threat match beforehand? It makes 0 sense. It would make more sense to have winner of this Battle Royal will face Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, and then have Matt Jackson and Kyle O'Reilly go out at the same time. And then, we've got to have a triple threat match. That makes the most sense to me. Rather than saying it's definitely a triple threat match with no reason as to why it's got to be a triple threat match, apart from to have 2 teams in it that are currently going to be feuding. So they booked himself into a corner a bit there for their own wrongdoing.
I would have loved to see Top Flight in this as well.
They were great. They were great.
The only one that would have made sense, because they obviously weren't in the first one.
No.
And they could come in the second one and won.
Or, I said, let's do it in a different way, which we'll come to in a second, of Moxley and Daniel Bryan. But I'm going to go with Jurassic Express for this for the same reasons as you, that Young Bucks and Red Dragon are going to feud, and they don't need the tag titles to feud. I think they could feud for anything. So, many for Adam Cole. So Moxley and Bryan Danielson is up next. Probably, this is the match I'm probably looking forward to the most, and probably the match that is 50-50 for me, because either guy can take a loss and it won't make a massive difference. Either guy can take the win and it won't make a massive difference. I think it's just going to be a good, solid match.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that one. It is the match that should be the match of the night, in most people's pure wrestling terms. It is quite 50-50. I would guess that Bryan Danielson would take the victory. With the run that he's been on, with Moxley just coming back. It makes it makes 53% more chance Bryan Danielson winning. It makes a bit more sense. So I'd definitely say Danielson.
Yeah, I think normally with the sort of heel versus face dynamic, in these sorts of bookings, you normally go with the heel only because they can do something a bit dastardly um, to take the win. So both guys, Bryan Danielson's been on a bit of a tear recently. He had a good match, Christopher Daniels, on Wednesday. Jon Moxley is just great every time he gets in the ring. What I don't want to see, I don't want to see a bloody affair, if I'm honest. I think if it makes sense to the storyline, which it does for Jon Moxley saying that a few weeks ago, I don't tag with anyone unless I bleed with them first. But I don't want to see a bloodbath. I want to see like a decent amount of it. Maybe recreate the Austin Brett from WrestleMania 13 for the finish, but for me, not that much of it. Like I think for Jon to bleed,
right to the end.
Yeah, like for Jon to bleed, it's fine because it makes sense for the story. But what I don't want to see is like what CM Punk did on Wednesday and just like a full on gusher for both of them because it doesn't need it. I think for Jon to do it is fine, but not for Bryan.
In my opinion, I don't think anything ever needs it. If you
No.
have to feel the need to bleed, then you're not good enough at doing your job at the end of the day. Fan reaction should be what it is with or without blood.
Especially for a match of this class, of this, yeah, be that good. I think at other end of the spectrum. Oh, sorry, I'm going to go with Bryan Danielson for that one as well. Just slightly take it. In a similar vein, you got Chris Jericho and Eddie Kingston, which once again it sort of could go any way, but I'm leaning quite heavily towards one side of it. This has been quite a weird feud. They've buried a lot of people on the way, should we say? 2.0 and Danny Garcia, I think, have felt the brunt of both of these guys by taking losses and just to build up the storyline. Santana and Ortiz have been fantastic in this storyline, and they're nowhere on the card whatsoever. That just goes to show you how far down they are and what they're used for, really. But Eddie Kingston, I think, is going to take it for me.
I mean, he should. There's no doubt about that. He's the one that needs it the most out of the two of them, and I'm going to go with Eddie Kingston. Just because I think that's what it's been building to more than the opposite way. Jericho's got himself in very good shape, by the way. Just to add that in, well done, Chris. It was about time. Eddie Kingston, as much as everybody loves Eddie Kingston, I'm not a massive fan. I think whatever feud he goes into, he has the same mannerisms. Do you get what I mean by that? Like it's the angry Latino type of mannerism. That he goes for in every single match that he has, every single feud that he has. I'd like to see something different from him after his win tonight.
Yeah, I think Santana Ortiz is going to play a part in it. I think they're going to come back and they're going to take out Jericho and they're going to reform Eddie Kingston and actually make that an official stable because that's what AEW needs is another stable. So be interested to see what they go.
That was the stable in TNA, wasn't it?
LAX, yeah. They've got Diamante as well, who was also in there. So that would make sense. Yet. Sorry?
Not signed yet. She's been knocking around in AEW for well over a year now, and she's not officially signed yet.
No. She won the tag team tournament with who was it with? The other Mexican.
The one that's gone. I can't remember her name.
She was that good. We can't remember her name. But so she won the tag team tournament. She's won it was a decent affair that. Very strange. Evilise, that's it. Eva released. So I think that would make sense. Have that stable in there. LAX. Conan's knocking about as well. So
so you're putting money on AEW having a stable? Do they even know what one of those is?
I know. But yeah, Eddie Kingston for me with a bit of shenanigans from Proud and Powerful. The Face of the Revolution ladder match is up next with 5 up-and-coming talents and Christian Cage. We've got Keith Lee, Orange Cassidy, Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks, and Wardlow. It's just been qualifying matches for this. The winner gets an AEW TNT title match, which I'm more glad of. I think they used to do it for the world title, didn't they, when they started it? A few years ago. No. That's what I mean. So even Scorpio Sky won it last year. He lost as well. So it'll be interesting to see where they go after it.
I love the fact that it's for a shot at the TNT title. It makes the TNT title sound sound prestigious, and then the match tonight makes it sound not prestigious because it's a 6-man tag. But at least they're building it a little bit. I like that. This match is going to annoy me. I mean, they put loads of big men in, and then seemed like at the last minute, oh, who's got ladder experience? Oh, Christian. Yeah, let's get him in it. Which was a bit weird. They're going to go with Keith Lee, but that's not going to be my prediction because there is no way, shape, or form that anybody except Wardlow should win this match. Wardlow is my prediction. He should win. They're going to go with Keith Lee, but I'm saying Wardlow.
Do you know what would have been just an absolute dream for this would be to have Dante Martin in the match. Second time we've mentioned that he should have been in a match, but it would have made complete sense because he's a high flyer. There's that possibility that he could be a face of the Revolution. He could go on to take it. Would have put a bit of air, a bit of aura about it. Keith Lee, I think, I don't want him to win, same as you. Whereas back on mine, I think he's sort of a safe bet. I'm going to go with Wardlow again, same as you, because I just want to see it. The storyline makes complete sense for Wardlow to win. And I think that with AEW's booking, they don't tend to go for an advanced storyline. They don't go, oh, what's next? What's next? What's next? They go, what's now? And I'd like them to sort of change their ways for this and go, Wardlow. Wardlow can then feud with MJF, who will come to the second, for the title, which would make complete sense because MJF's always going on about being a champion. So Wardlow for me, even though
I don't care about that far in the future. Wardlow can feud with Sammy Guevara. That's fine for me.
Yeah.
For now, you know, you're thinking way in the future there. But yeah, he can easily feud with Sammy Guevara. They can add MJF presence in if they want to, but they don't have to. I think Wardlow has reached that stage. You know, we do the Fantasy Wrestling League, and you look at the last 7 weeks or so, and it's 10 points, 10 points, 10 points, 10 points for Wardlow. He deserves this. The way they've built him, the booking on him deserves a victory for Wardlow.
And he's over. The crowd are getting behind him. He's got his Powerbomb Symphony, which we've never really seen before. It makes complete sense. And surprised no one's done it before. The crowd are really into it. He's got a good storyline going with Sean Spears trying to hold him back. And MJF on Wednesday slapped him in the face and said to him if he wins the TNT title, he'll let him keep it. And then slapped him in the face, which he didn't really react that well to. He's a face. He's over. He's big. He's really,
Batista.
He's Batista. Yeah. So yeah, Wardlow, fingers crossed. But next up, I think it's probably the only title for me that's possibly in jeopardy on the card. Britt Baker, DMD versus Thunder Rosa. The storyline behind it is just it's quite a tale as old as time, really, isn't it? Just they've had quite a long feud. They had the lights out match, which Britt Baker came out the end of it, being more of a star, even though she took the loss compared to Thunder Rosa. Rose has been slowly built up since then. Had a bit of a feud with Jade Cargill as well as Britt Baker. Mercedes Martinez was thrown in there at one point. Jamie Hayter's knocking about. Who are you going with?
Yeah, as you say, I mean, AEW don't mind having full cards with no title changes. They're like NXT in that respect. They don't mind it. But this card is too big, I think, to have no title changes at all. And this is the only realistic opportunity. Thunder Rosa is, I know Johnny won't like me saying this, but Thunder Rosa is the best woman in AEW at the moment. You know, there's an argument for Serena Deeb. I argue against that. Thunder Rosa is better at the moment. She's got to win it, surely. Britt Baker's title reign has been really poor and has kind of exposed her weaknesses. You know, partly to do with booking, partly to do with her as well. But Thunder Rosa has to win this. There is a niggling doubt about Thunder Rosa. She did pick up an injury midweek. They don't think it's going to put her off the card, but with it being AEW, she could win and then not wrestle for 3 weeks. So I don't think that's a problem for her. As long as she can actually make this match, she'll win.
Yeah, I mean, more than likely what will happen is she'll win. She'll have a celebration on Wednesday, which Nyla Rose will come down and interfere in, and then that feud will start because no one's asked for that. Yeah, I agree about Britt Baker. I think when someone like Britt Baker wins it, a heel, and they've got a stable, the same thing always happens where they'll lose tag team match and after tag team just to build challenges, which it's very ruthless aggression era WWE, where just the champion would lose in a nothing match. Rio, I think she's lost to Rio twice, didn't she, before she actually beat her one-on-one, and so it just makes no sense to me. Just build your champion up like you have done with Adam Page and other people. So yeah, for me it makes no sense. But I'm gonna go for Thunder Rosa as well. I think she deserves it. But yeah, CM Punk versus MJF in a dog collar match and the battle of the initials. Been a long old storyline this has, where it's felt
You said
to me,
that quite negatively.
I did in the sense of like, I think it burnt out for a bit in the middle and then it picked up again, which is not the worst. I think maybe 3 weeks ago, it felt like to me it had burnt out. It was just the same promo. And then, yeah, it took another level, I think, about 2 weeks ago when obviously MJF come out and cut a really good promo and then beat CM Punk up last week. So I think it's had levels to it. It's had probably the best build up on the card for me. But what do you reckon?
He's another one that's been saved for special occasions, is MJF. And it's not there yet. He's not good enough to do that yet. He's had that promo that will go down in history, and everyone will talk about that promo for years to come, and that's fair enough. I get that. It's decent. MJF should win this match because he needs it. He's taken so many pay-per-view losses that he should win this match, and if CM Punk kind of has any influence whatsoever, he should be calling for that as well. But that's not going to happen. CM Punk is going to win this match. You can expect shenanigans. You can expect the ring to be involved somehow. The diamond ring, that is, not the actual
not the
but CM Punk is going to win this match. It's going to be the wrong result for the second time I've said that today.
Yeah, I agree. MJF, I think, took a loss against Jericho, which was, once again, I think they'd booked himself into a corner. He beat Darby Allin, but who hasn't? CM Punk, I think, losing to MJF, was it 3-4 weeks ago now? That was when it sort of burnt out for me, I think, because that's when I realised that, hold on a second, CM Punk's probably going to win this match, which then means he's going to win the feud. So, yeah, for me, MJF should win. CM Punk will win. But I agree on the sense of like they're saving MJF for big occasions, so to speak, and as like a highlight match. But it doesn't need to be. They've one of the worst things, and this is going a bit off script here, but one of the worst things that's happened to wrestling, I'd say, was being like when Brock Lesnar come back in 2012, was it? Because all he did was basically introduce like a part-time schedule, which made him feel like an attraction. Whereas now in wrestling, they use that so many times. Because back in the day, they used to have champions would wrestle each week, and like John Cena would wrestle every week, and like all the big stars would. Whereas nowadays, if once every 3 weeks, you'd say for champions, which has sort of ruined it a bit on that side of things. But
you say back in the day, and I appreciate you going back to your day. AEW were kind of following my day. If you know what I mean, like when you had Hogan as champion and stuff that, he barely wrestled. It was always the Intercontinental title upper mid carders that fought every week. Your Tito Santana's, your Macho Man for quite a while,
your workhorses,
your Jake the Snake type of characters. So yeah, and AEW are following that script. I think they're very much late 80s. They're AEW admirers, you can tell. And that's the way that they're going with it. I don't like it, but he's not special enough yet. You look at a Brock Lesnar, like you said. I look forward to Brock Lesnar wrestling. Mm-hmm. I don't like it, but I actually want to watch him. And I guess, if it's 50-50 like that, he's doing the right thing for him. He's doing the right thing for the company. But AEW are doing that with people that are nowhere near Brock Lesnar's level.
No.
That's wrong.
Well, I think Paul Heyman summed it up. He said that one of the main things about the film Jaws was that you didn't see the shark that much, which then built up the anticipation for when you did. And it's the same thing that they've applied to Brock Lesnar. That's what they've gone with. It doesn't apply the same to MJF because you still see him every week, but you're not seeing his in-ring ability. So all you're thinking into yourself is he's just a talker. Whereas, yeah, for me, it's a decent wrestler, and I think he needs to find a balance between talking and wrestling.
Decent wrestler, decent talker, but He hasn't excelled in wrestling. And I personally don't go, I wonder if MJF's going to be on today. I'm really looking forward to it. A lot of people will be looking forward to this match because they're both kind of like people that people want to see wrestle. But would they pay just to see MJF wrestle because he hasn't wrestled for a bit? No.
Especially when he's taken 2 losses in the last 2 months. Well, longer than that. With the last 5 matches, he's taken 2 losses. And the main event is the Battle of the Adams. Adam Page, Adam Cole, Adam Handslip. What do you reckon?
Was it Jim Ross this week that said he didn't like that because they're both called Adam?
Both called Adam. Yeah.
Nice speak out against the company there. I guess his contract isn't going to be renewed after all. It's a weird one, this one. It is the main event, right? Khan has.
Yes, it's 12th on the list.
It doesn't really have the feel of a main event for me. Adam Page has been a disappointment for me as a champion. Again, not all his fault. AEW booking as well. Adam Cole, in the grand sense of things, if this was NXT, I'd be saying Red Dragon are going to win the tag team titles. Adam Cole's going to win the world title. What a great faction they'll be. But AEW has too many factions, as we've covered during this. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't really have any appeal in that sense. It's too early for Adam Page to lose the title. I don't think he's been able to show himself enough yet to lose the title. Shall I give you a prediction of how Page is going to win?
Go on, then. Go on. The way? Oh, no.
I think Gargano will appear. And then Gargano and Adam Cole can continue their feud from NXT, which is something that AEW would probably very much love. It was a good feud, but it's something that AEW would love. I can see it happening.
Yeah, now that you've said that makes sense. Because I generally, as soon as you said it, I thought, his missus is about to pop. But she had the baby. The baby weeks ago, didn't she? But yeah, I think it would make sense, wouldn't it, for him to debut now? For me, Adam Page and Adam Cole, it would be exciting if we had more of a build-up than Adam Page beating Lance Archer, Adam Cole coming out, and then just talking about when they used to be friends. It seems to be the cornerstone for any AEW feud at the moment. It's just people talking about when they were friends in Japan. I think Adam Page is going to take it, obviously. Because obviously on the FWL, Johnny put his competition up and he said about the buckshot lariat. I don't think it's going to end that way. I think it's going to be a weird... Because you've got to protect Adam Cole somehow. So I think there's going to be something... Whether like a roll-up involved or... I don't know.
He's going to win clean in the end, but leading up to that, there'll be some kind of interference.
But yeah, Adam Page for me. I agree about the...
Can I just ask what Adam Cole's done to deserve the critics at the moment? Because there's a lot of people coming out going, oh, look at him, he's not in shape, he's not this, he's not that. When did that matter in 2022 wrestling? Yes, he's not absolutely jacked, but he's still an amazing wrestler. How come he's getting it? If you said it about like one of the women or something like that, there'd be uproar against you. But for some reason, people are allowed to say this kind of crap against Adam Cole. I don't like it at all. He's a great wrestler, and that's what matters.
It's because everyone seems to think that if you don't win a title within 6 weeks of being on AEW, then you've not been booked right. I think Adam Cole is the sort of person that does need a belt, but there's no point in rushing him. Just because he got the NXT title within 6 months of debuting there doesn't mean he's going to do that in, let's be honest, a bigger company compared to NXT, and the more protected belt. It makes no sense. I think Adam Cole has been fine the way he's been booked. He's beat people along the way. He's been wrestling almost every week, and he's had feuds that make sense. Really, he's in the middle of the Young Bucks feud and so on. So
he's had some stupid losses leading up to this.
Just the one. I think he lost to Orange Cassidy, which doesn't count.
Does it not?
Doesn't count because it was a lights out match.
Orange Cassidy is going to be the one taking a lot of bumps in that match.
Yeah. It doesn't count if it's a lights out match. It doesn't go towards your record. So.
Oh yeah, I remember that now. They lost to a tag match as well, didn't they?
Oh, did they? I haven't got that far this week. But...
6-man, I think.
Yeah, but then once again, I think that makes sense compared to what I was saying earlier about Britt Baker taking the loss.
For the world heavyweight men's title, I don't think they've built Cole as well as they should. I don't think they've built Age as well as they should.
You'll probably say that the title challengers of Red Dragon and Adam Cole shouldn't have taken a loss 4 days before a pay-per-view. Which makes zero sense, but yeah, once again, it's very attitude era booking that one, I'd say. But on the whole, I'd say card-wise, looks good, looks stacked.
It's a stacked card. There's a lot of people not involved. When are those people going to start getting fed up?
Yeah, if we look at the likes of, let's say, Lance Archer I mentioned earlier. Let's say Miro, Top Flight.
Yeah, I think Miro's dealing with an injury or something, but yeah.
Yeah, he's got Top Flight, another example. Yeah, they're decent stars that realistically should be on the card in some shape or form. Compared to Layla Hirsch, who's not been around massive amount of time, has mainly been on Dark. I don't think she's actually won on Dynamite yet. I don't think. Went on to the pre-show, which makes no sense.
There's got to be a breaking point for these wrestlers. You've got kind of a tier. You've got the wrestlers that are breaking through at Dark Elevation level, but not getting a contract for years, like Diamante we spoke about earlier. Not getting a contract. You look at Wheeler Yuta. How long has he been knocking around now without a contract? Those stars are going to get annoyed, and if they're not getting a contract, they're open to going elsewhere, which WWE are going to find the top 5% of those and pick them off one by one. Then you look at the stars that are up and coming. You mentioned earlier your Danny Garcia, your 2.0, that are constantly taking the losses. They're getting experience in that. They're fighting the good wrestlers, which they'll be happy about, but constantly taking the losses. How long can that continue? The odd fluke win, and they make sure it's definitely coming across as a fluke win isn't going to help. Then you've got your upper mid-carders. That's where the problem lies. Your Lance Archers, your Miros that you spoke about. They are going to get very annoyed very quickly at not getting on shows like this because money-wise, Lance Archer, looking at him, going to WWE, he'd be making so much more money because he'd get on the pay-per-view shows. I think, give it a year and I can see a downward spiral of people coming, especially if they just keep hiring more and more and more and more people. We look at the FWL roster and that it's only the people that are on a permanent contract. And I think there's is it 100, 130, maybe even more.
Which is crazy.
On a permanent contract. That's crazy. They have multiple man matches on Dark and Elevation. That's great, but the revenue for the actual wrestlers isn't going to be that great for that. It's crazy. It needs to have a ceiling somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at the likes of the Acclaimed, who aren't on the show, Best Friends aren't on the show. Frankie Kazarian, just a very low mid carder, but Varsity Blondes, they're up and coming tag teams or experienced wrestlers that are just completely missing from the show that will benefit from this. And the Acclaimed, I'll start with, they're over every time they come out. They get a good reception. They're not overly bad in the ring, and they take losses on Dark nowadays. So it's just what are they doing?
Dark Order. Look at how far they've gone in the pecking order.
Yeah.
It's just weird, Stu Grayson is probably in the top 5% of wrestlers on the roster.
Yeah. And
look at him. WWE will snap him up.
Were they even in the Casino Battle Royal? I know 5 and 10 were.
Silver and Reynolds weren't, but the other 4 were.
Oh, okay. Of course, they're in the 6-man tag, weren't they?
Yeah, that also made no sense for them not to be in with a shot of getting a tag team.
And I'll tell you who is, could be a star, is Preston Vance. He looks $1 million. He decent wrestler. He's got a good character about him. He'll go nowhere.
Alan Angels has a chance of being a mid-card star. I'd say behind Tay Conti for AEW, he was probably the second most improved of the year.
Yeah.
But Preston Vance, he's got something about him, you're right.
So if you want to prove in the ring, Get a vlog. That's your way forward, isn't it? That's what Sammy did. But yeah, we're interested to see how we get on with our predictions. And yeah, Mania after this, so interesting to compare the AEW with the we and see how we get on. But all in all, it should be a good show. We should enjoy it. And yeah, thanks, Adam.
No problemo.
Well, we'll be seeing you soon, and yeah, enjoy the show. All the best.
Peace.